My name is Tommy Bledsoe, and I live here in St. Augustine. I grew up in Virginia, but I've lived here permanently since 1998. But I first came to St. Augustine in 1972, fell in love with it, and kept coming back. I've always been interested in music, but I never imagined myself to be a musician. I really wanted to be a visual artist. That didn't materialize, but the music kind of evolved because I found there was nothing else that I enjoyed doing more than learning music and playing music for other people, but primarily for myself.
The song that he was singing made their horses prance.
Well, I grew up in a place that was very rich in traditional culture, traditional arts, and music, but everything was informally taught. I didn't really have music education in school, so the music that I learned from my relatives, from my neighbors, from my friends, and I was influenced by what I heard. When I was growing up, I was more influenced by what my parents wanted me to do. I was, the first generation of my family that went to college. I went to college and I got a degree in business. I have very little affinity or interest in business, but that degree opened doors for me to work in the arts. After I went through college and I spent 4 years in the Navy, I came back home and found that there were other people that had started a theater company, a record company, the kind of things that were documenting and producing images of mountain people that had dignity and truth. And I said, this is what I want to do. This makes sense to me.
1, 2, 3.
When I first got involved with the Cultural Council, it was before it became the actual Cultural Council. There was a group of artists who had worked on saving the beach building out on the St. Augustine beach. And then there was a group of artists who we kept getting these meetings together, trying to figure out how to create strength in numbers, if you will. There are a lot of artists in St. Augustine, musicians, artists, dancers, storytellers. So we thought, okay, if we can kind of form an organization, an umbrella, then it gives people an opportunity to meet others and to develop opportunities for each other. So what we decided to do was to join those two forces, the beach building and the artist group, and become the St. John's Cultural Council. Once we kind of formed this group, we found out about the state of the arts license plates, that every license plate that's sold in the county, a portion of that money goes to the local arts agency. So that money came to us and said, well, what are we going to do with this money? Not for the Cultural Council. The Cultural Council we didn't want that money. We wanted that money to support artists. So we developed the grant program. And I think it has real impact. I am flabbergasted that the Cultural Council is naming this State of the Arts grant after me. I was the arts program specialist for the St. Johns County School District for 10 years. Before that, I was the first operations manager of the St. Augustine Amphitheatre, working with the St. Johns County School District as the arts program specialist. I got to work with every visual and performing arts teacher, K through 12, throughout the county. And it was a great education for me to see how brilliant these teachers are. I'm really honored, and I hope that that legacy is something that everybody will respect, and not for me, but because of what it's being, what it does for the community. You know, you can feel very alone, but you get up here on these stages and you tell your story, you're going to find out there's people out there that identify with it. I don't care how, where you're from. I want to see something that looks alive and looks based in real people's lives and expressions.